start the meeting. Welcome everybody to this special City Planning Committee for Monday the 5th of July. I advise all present that audio and video of this meeting is being recorded and live streamed to the community via the City of Hobart YouTube channel. And if there's any elected member present who has not yet signed into the meeting in accordance with our COVID-19 safe plan, please do so now. And I request that all mobile devices be either turned off or put to silent. We have in the room Alderman Briscoe, Councillor Harvey, Alderman Barakis and Councillor Dutta as committee members. Alderman Zuko, are you here for the meeting?
I'm just going to listen, yes.
Sorry?
I'll be here. I'll be listening.
Well,
Observing.
We'll need to call someone in.
We'll need to call somebody in a moment, so.
Oh, that's right.
We also have Alderman Zuko, who's just leaving the room, and Alderman Thomas. So can I ask that we co-opt?
Happy to move. We co-opt Alderman Thomas.
Thank you. Those in favour?
All right.
Those against? Items carried. We have no apologies, I don't think. We've co-opted. Do we have any indications of pecuniary or conflicts of interest? No. Item 3, committee acting as planning authority 3.1, and we have deputations for this. So can I have somebody move that, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Harvey. We'll hear those deputations. Those in favour?
Right.
Those against? Item is carried. Item 3.1.1 is 35 Lipscomb Avenue, 2 multiple dwellings, 1 existing. And we have, sorry, here's my deputation list. We have representatives, Mr Ambrose Canning and Alicia Canning. Would you like to come to the table, please? Mr Canning? Do you want to sit at the table there? Yep, in front of that microphone, and present to the committee. And we now have Councillor Coates here, so I'll unco-opt you, Alderman Thomas.
Okay.
Right, you have 5 minutes to address the committee, Mr Canning. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Today, in this brief time, we just want to concentrate on the agenda item 6.9, privacy. It is to reduce the privacy impact on the dwellings at adjoining 33 Lipscomb Avenue. In particular by the 2 windows on the north face of the proposed new dwelling. The planning scheme performance criteria say that a window must be screened or otherwise located or designed to minimise the direct views to the private open space of another dwelling. We support the Council's recommended condition at agenda item 695 that for the dining living room window, its sill height increased to 1.7 metres above floor level, or fixed obscure glazing to the same level. In addition, we'd propose that this condition be applied to both the north-facing windows. Now, although it's not our part to design this new dwelling, we've suggest there's plenty of capacity within the applicant's proposed kitchen design to swap locations, for example, of the oven to the northern wall and the sink to the eastern wall, over which a new window retaining a 1.2 sill level can be placed facing east and providing a pleasant outlook into the already established gardens and private open space at 35 Lipscomb. The Council's assessment, again at agenda point 6.9.5, states that there is little evidence of formal private open space activities occurring in this corner of the adjacent property. However, we would contend that the top of the driveway on our adjacent property is an important and necessary private open space. It directly connects to and is accessible from the lower dwelling. The dwelling front door opens onto it. This private open space can be viewed from inside the lower dwelling, for example, important if children are out playing. The dwelling outdoor barbecue is in this area, and that area at the top of the driveway is used for children riding, ball games, chalk drawings, etc., etc. Now, we recognise that 33 Lipscomb Avenue is a large block with other outdoor garden spaces on the northern side, but these are associated with the main dwelling. They're directly accessible from the main dwelling. They're overlooked by the main dwelling, and there's many metres walk away from the lower dwelling. Therefore not applicable as private open space for the lower dwelling. So in summing up this brief presentation, I'd just like to knowingly repeat that we support the Council's recommended condition that for the dining and living room windows that the sill height increase to 1.7 metres above floor level, or fixed obscure glazing up to the same level. And again, in addition, we propose that this condition be applied to both the north side windows. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr Canning. I'll open it to the committee first for any questions. Councillor Dutta, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Chair. Do I understand correctly that you are saying if we add the condition that both windows have the glazing, you'd be happy with that?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Further questions? Mr Canning, did you raise the issue about the fence removal in your representation?
Yes, it was unclear to us whether
so-
the fence was intended to be removed or not. The drawings are a little ambiguous with regard to the fence.
Yep, so that will be a question. Mr Noy, can you?
Well, maybe Mr Reid will be able
Oh,
to
okay.
answer that.
Yep, sure. We'll ask the applicant or the representative. Are there any further questions? No. Okay, thank you. Could you take your seat again and we'll just wipe the table down before the applicant responds to some of those questions? And Mr Reid and it's Mr Moore, isn't it, if you'd like to come to the table. Thank you. You're both welcome to come if you'd like to. So if you can answer some of those questions, please, and also just tell us what you're doing with the fence.
Yes, thank you. I might lead off and Brian might add to it.
Thank you.
So just firstly on the window issue, I think Council's plan has dealt with that in the assessment, but the key thing from my perspective is if we look at the site plan, it's clear that this that this kitchen sink window aligns with the building itself. So if you look at the neighbouring building itself, if you look at page 79 of the agenda, there's an air photo there that shows the site, and you'll see the roof of number 33 there, sort of close to the boundary, and you can see the tree there basically, which is where this house is going. And then if we look down at the actual site plan, and I'll give you a page number, page 82, site plan, you can see the kitchen sink there in that floor plan of the new dwelling, which is approximately in the middle of that neighbouring house, which is right on the boundary. So in terms of any prospect of overlooking from that kitchen sink, I think I'd have to agree with Mr Sheriff's assessment that it doesn't warrant that further condition. If I'm understanding the concern properly, is that right, Mr Kenny?
It's the view looking down from that window into the adjacent property.
So I don't think that is likely to be an issue from that location. In relation to the fence, Mr Moore will just confirm that they're not intending to remove the fence. It was going to stay as is.
Okay, thank you. So would it be a problem actually conditioning that that seal, like the,
Well, it's sort of the northern light, so lifting, it's sort of an outlook from the kitchen sink, actually a long view out through that way. It's actually a useful part of the amenity of that property. So, yeah, I think we'd be reluctant to close it in with obscure glazing if
Okay,
we don't
thank
have
you.
to. It doesn't seem to be a proper planning concern there, in my assessment.
did you want to add anything else?
Yes, that is very essential, I think, for sunlight and natural light. The outlook is where the photo was taken from was exactly where the outlook is, straight across the roof of a double carport. So it's not going to, you can't see down in underneath, and you can't really see to either side of that window, and doesn't impinge on any part of the property.
Is that all that you wanted to say?
Yes, unless you had any concerns about the proposal in general, but maybe you could ask us some questions if you have any residual concerns.
Yep, I'll open it to the committee for questions, or anybody who would like to ask any questions. Councillor Harvey?
So there's a shared driveway here, and I haven't quite worked out where all the properties are off a shared driveway, because it's drawn in such a way that it's a bit, I don't know, obscure of how we access this property. So if we go back to page, say, 84, for example, and there's a number 1 car parking space, how do we access that? Do we come up through the bottom left corner, or, you know, I just can't quite get the...
Is it 84? Sorry, I'm just racing back to the...
Yeah, go to 84, and then show me where how do you access, where's the driveway to access this additional
so it's
lot?
an existing driveway, so there's an existing rear access into this property as well as the garage off Lipscomb. So yes, you come through that, you know, the dotted area, which is trying to show the existing concrete area. So you come in through there and come around into the left.
So that's along a road between the two roads, one Lipscomb and one the other road.
Yeah, so this rear one comes off Lorrimont Avenue.
Is that being used at the moment?
Yes, it provides access into the rear of this property. Yeah, it's all formed at the moment. The only thing that changes to that hard stand area at the rear is this new car parking space that goes in there on the angle, which you can see on 84. But that's all existing. That's an existing rear access into number 35.
With also, if I could add, with curb and gutter right in.
Thank you. Any further questions? Just in relation to trees, obviously you'll need to remove some of the trees. What is the likely landscaping, or what sort of trees are you likely to plant after this work?
Well, the trees that have been planted, there's probably 20 pitostrums from the western side right up the northern boundary, which is the boundary with number 33.
Are you intending any landscaping as part of any further landscaping?
It is landscaped at the moment, yes. And there is a fake grass area as well, but yes, it is landscaped. And any trees, small trees, bushes that need to be removed, we're going to be transplanted into the existing area.
Has this, one of the representations raised the issue about this as a low-lying area and flooding? So what have you experienced on the block previously?
A couple of things on that. So in that bottom part of the site, that's absolutely correct that when there was that May 18 flood, whatever it was, yeah, the flood came roaring down through that valley, which was basically parallel to that rear boundary, and it knocked down fences and all sorts of things. But care has been taken in this proposal to make sure it's outside of that, and you can probably see from the elevations of the house that it's actually got a cantilever as well. So firstly, the house is elevated, but it's also got a cantilever. I'll see if I can find a proper elevation for you, but we did engage with council on that exact issue very early on. On page 88, you can't quite make out the cantilever from this perspective, but there is a substantial cantilever over the,
Maybe on the next part.
89, yeah.
89.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, so it's, yeah, in answer to your question, it has been considered. Yeah, I think those perspective views show you how that's cantilevered, that it's the downpipe that you see going down the other bit.
All right, thank you.
Yes, it has been designed with care to that, and Rowan Moore from council had reviewed that issue with the stormwater engineers.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further questions? Councillor Harvey?
I'm going to ask it again. So do you access this proposed house off Dresden Street along that laneway?
Lorrimont.
No, Lorrimont.
Okay, no, I just don't have a laneway on my map of the world here. Can I leave the chair, please? If you could just...
The fixed one? I get
Two
confused.
fingers.
We're down in here, so if we can get down into there.
Are there any other
Down
questions?
through there it is, isn't it? Yeah, down through there.
Okay.
That's the existing driveway.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's laneway there as well.
Ah, right. No, it's not that one. That's
33.
35's access. Yeah.
On the front page of the representations, you'll see a good aerial photograph of the area. It shows you a bit better as to how it comes off Lorrimont. Okay, thank you. If you'd like to take your seats again, please.
Thank you.
And I'll open the item for discussion. Alderman Barakis.
Thank you, Chair. And just before I move the recommendation, can I just ask through you to the Director, you made the recommendation to raise the sill of the dining room. Just going off the conversation that was had with the two deputations, why was that recommendation not extended to the kitchen?
I think for the reasons Mr Reid pointed out, that the window in the kitchen is overlooking the roof, not necessarily the driveway, and or that the potential open space of that driveway. So that's why we excluded that from that condition.
But there was consideration given to that.
Yeah, definitely was.
Look, that being the case, I'm happy to move the recommendations then, Chair.
Thank you. Further discussion? Just a question. So is there any need for further landscaping conditions, do you feel?
Not normally. I think this is an existing landscaped rear yard, but I think under the normal circumstances there'll be landscaping retained as much as possible, and we don't normally require landscaping as a condition of approval under these circumstances.
Yep, and there's a detention tank
Yep.
as to mitigate any sort of flooding or...
That's right. Adding
Water
to the stormwater outfall.
Yep, okay. No further discussion. I'll put the motion that's moved by Alderman Barakis without any changes. Those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Item is carried. So this will go to full council in a few minutes' time. Thank you. Meeting